ever rip this one. I think he had better scoring chances, but he didn't place any shot like this one. Up and high. What do we talk about Curtis Joseph? He is down a lot. Get the puck up on him. It's almost as if Bob Gainey said to his guys, men, he is down and he's going to take away low. Get it up high on him. Mike McPhee gives the North Stars a 4-2 lead while Curtis Joseph committed first and too early, Gary. He was on his knees before that shot was taken.
A lot of room upstairs, as you mentioned earlier, Bill, and they'll rush it on the right side. Takes the shot, save made Casey, no rebound. A high shot.
They're in the driver's seat right now.
We mentioned earlier, neither of these teams like Tadano. Wrap around, Kevin Miller tied up, never got the shot off. Tim Cowell trying to center, hit the side of the net with it. St. Louis taken away from him by Duchesne. Duchesne wrapped up by Garth Butcher. Help from Dowland. Dowland looking. Dowland open. Dowland missed it. He put it over the head of Curtis Joseph, then centered right.
It's all over the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland. The New Jersey Devils come away with a victory. Missing the empty net are the Devils. This is Alexander Semak in front to Claude Lemieux, who scores his 27th. Washington is 0-8-1 at home in their last 9 divisional games. Explain that to me. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, wins its second.
Kevin Miller. Miller gets turned. Left it in the middle. Brown. Shot save made by Casey. Rebound Miller. Casey gloves it. Thank you very much. Tom Mees.
All right, Gary, another man who's had a good night tonight is Cam Neely. Isn't it good to see him skating and scoring well if you're a hockey fan in general? This is second goal tonight, 10th of the year. That made it 5-1. Bruins clinch the Adams Division title. Meanwhile, Philadelphia.
Hull out there for the first go-around with Danny. You have Hull in the second line, so what I'm saying is he's going with 2 lines.
Shot, Joseph ricocheting around on the shot taken by Hatcher. Joseph coming up with
to these respective franchises, and you take a look at the save by Joseph on Darian Hatcher, you have to come to the conclusion that it means far more to the St. Louis Blues than the Minnesota North Stars. After all, they are leaving. And yet, as Dave Gagne of the North Stars pointed out, our incentive is pride. They are over the trauma,
trying to join the play and get something going. Shanahan offside as he took the shot. That'll get the whistle. Our Visa storyline tonight, there'll be no whistle. Nelson Emerson to the blue line. Emerson looking to the middle. Ed Felsner cutting. Felsner tipped it, knocked away by Casey. Tipped by
there. Another big crack there. And all of this tape, and you can see how wide they are. He patches them up himself, and he said, don't get any bugs on your hands. Take a look at these. You know how old they are? They go back to his college days at North Dakota. Back to 1981.
Well, that's ugly. Shot, Brown missed it on the short side. Rebound, hit the side of the net. Heard up, Janney had it. Janney took it back from Broughton. Janney moving in. Janney, great move. Dropped it. Score! Brett Hull, an incredible setup by Craig
Jared man. But watch this move by Janney. He went to his backhand and back to his forehand. The thing that you got to understand if you never tried it, a forehand move like that sudden is very difficult to make. The backhand move is easier. Matt Tkachuk went for it. You can see that it was just a little fake to the backhand by Janney, then to the front. And while he's doing that, though, he has got to visually pick up.
Left to go. This one on the line now. Even strength. Shot on. Joseph makes the save on a hard shot by Courtnall.
You had Brian Propp there. Russ Courtnall had never scored 30 goals in the National Hockey League before this season. He had 6 20-goal seasons, but never.
The St. Louis Blues running the blue line. Cook checked away from him there. Brought back in the shot. The save by Joseph. Brian Propp stole it at the blue line. Curtis Joseph, the goaltender. Shanahan back for Emerson. Played off the boards by Felsner. Shanahan in front, wraparound shot. Save made by Casey. Hedican holds it in. Goaltender still in at the other end. 1:16 to go. Hedican dropped it off. Felsner centering again. Blocked. Felsner got it back. Felsner centered. Hedican turnaround. Hedican shot deflected wide. Casey reached for it, missed. Rebound deflected in front. He held it in. Shanahan centered again. Shot. Brown. Save. Casey. Rebound is loose in the slot. Still loose. Covered up underneath players. Oh,
baby. Guy. And his arms folded. His knuckles must be absolutely white. Sometimes in front, there's just too much traffic. You can't get a shot away. You can't get your stick in a puck. The North Stars were covering up there, but there was so much traffic. The problem becomes how to even get a shot away through late.
Janney will take the face-off. 16.8 left to go.
Yeah, the problem for the North Stars is the Blues have a man open on the boards. Now the North Stars have countered with a man on the boards.
Broughton will take the face-off. Broughton was able to kick it free to the corner. Miller going back to get it. Puts it up to the point. It's still along the blue line. Under 10 seconds.
Games. Norm Smith of Detroit.
The first game was 6 overtimes against the Montreal Maroons, and that's still a Stanley Cup playoff record. So he got 176.5 minutes out of that game, plus one more, plus part of a third. Murray Barron slows down Matteau. Drilled.
The following is an ESPN special presentation.
The Los Angeles Kings have never had a chance to focus on the cup. They've never been this close. Patrick Roy has been there twice before. Won one, lost one. This man has won it 4 times. In Game 1, the Los Angeles Kings wanted to play a physical game. Well, they did. And in the battle along the boards, they won.
I was embarrassed. I can't speak.
Led by Luc Robitaille's 2 goals. And defensively, they played tough, including Kelly Hrudey in net. Wayne Gretzky, always ready. Game 2 of the finals. After the game, this guy is going to be a Norris Trophy winner in the not-too-distant future. Damphousse got it over Lebeau. Stéphane Lebeau! Saved by Hrudey and a 2-on-1.
Pretty good play because Rob Blake, number 4 for the Kings, was the one guy back, and he's got such a long reach. He stays in between the pack.
4 points, a goal and 3 assists in the last game. He's got 37 points. Gilmore, of course, 35, had been the leader. Tomas Sandstrom is 3rd among scorers. Also playing on that line with Gretzky. Taken at center by Desjardins. Eric Desjardins, Matthew Snyder, the defensive pair. He intercepted McSorley to Granato. Granato moving in. The shot right through Roy and wide. Gilbert Dion got Los Angeles living, breathing, and dying on the edge and getting away with it. Robitaille made the move on Muller. Sandstrom saved by Roy. Got her with a left pad. Tomas out on the ice. Carboneau sent it in. Blake right back up. Carboneau held it in. Carboneau, nice pass to Bellows. Bellows shot save made by Kelly.
Themselves. Derek Keane and McSorley going at it. Keane gives away about 40 pounds to McSorley.
Kelly Hrudey, the save, and the shot by Gretzky. That's where he likes to come from. Back in the middle. Shot Blake deflected wide. Went off Guy Carboneau. Picked up by Zhitnik, the 20-year-old rookie. Zhitnik back. Gretzky working the top now. Over to Blake. Defenseman shot saved by Roy. Rebound. Nice play along the board. Zhitnik trying to hold it in. Matthew Snyder, great job. Tried to hold it in. Could not. Back to center. Zhitnik has it. Alexei Zhitnik dropped it. Muller, the fake. Zhitnik's got a piece of him. Centering pass. Back in the middle. Shot saved by Kelly Hrudey. Eric Desjardins had a one-on goaltender and couldn't get it by him. Two centers again. Shot deflected up in the air by Stéphane Lebeau. Never got in on net. Good defensive play. Curry. Kevin Haller. Close save made by Kelly Hrudey. Muscle, 22-year-old with good size.
Well, he adds speed and a shot too, Gary, which I think is really what the Montreal Canadiens hope to get out of him. With the quick forwards that the LA Kings have, Kevin Haller is just a little quicker than Sean Hill. Sean Hill is sitting tonight. Saved by Kelly Hrudey. You saw Marty McSorley just try to squeeze his guy off, but the Montreal power play time in Game 1, they had 3 shots.
Amazing. Bellows lost it. It's that kind of play right there that you continually see.
And about every 2 minutes, you really have to average at least around 3.
Ooh, Patrick Roy is going to be called as he got Dave Taylor. Taylor was going by. Roy got the stick and the shoulder up, and Taylor's looking to see if he's cut in the face. He wears the visor, but Roy got a pretty good piece. And Roy's going to be called, and Montreal got 13 seconds worth of power play out of that.
I don't think Dave Taylor is going to bleed underneath all that scar tissue and beard and visor and stuff. Oh, you know what it was? It looked like it was his blocker that got caught up under the visor. I don't think it was his stick. See what I told you? You know, I was talking about setting picks and try to run interference. Well, that's what Patrick Roy was trying to do there. He just made it a little too obvious. And it looked like it was the blocker that got caught under the visor.
We're not seeing the kind of discipline right now from the Montreal wanted out of his team in this game. He didn't get in Game 1. Moved the puck in a hurry. J.J. Daniels, save again, Kelly Hrudey.
The sticks are into the passing lanes. They've intercepted. They've broken out, and they've driven the net. Look at Carboneau. He's just trying to jam away at Kelly Hrudey.
Perhaps even more important than the fact here they start it in a 4-on-3. Brisebois, some room. Brisebois shot. Hrudey save. Rebound. Leclerc save made by Hrudey. Great chances right there on the Montreal power play, but Kelly Hrudey is playing some goal.
He crawls pretty fast, doesn't he? And there's not much traction when you're on your knees. He was down on his knees in front and somehow got over in front of the Leclerc shot. Look at the jam. I mean, you're not, I don't care how strong Marty McSorley is, he's not going to move John Leclerc. Look at Hrudey on all fours, and he just kind of edged his way over. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle until he got to the post. Watch it. John Leclerc is 212 pounds, and he is built like a rock. Without a shirt, you'll recognize him on the beach. He'll have more muscles than anybody. McSorley's 225, but that ain't big enough.
Power play continues for the Montreal Canadiens. Brisebois, his shot deflected in front, didn't get through Marty McSorley. And there he was blocking it. Not out, Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky takes it. Wow, the save, and it was up high on him with Robitaille looking for the rebound.
Boy, Guy Carbonneau lines himself up with a shooter so well, but the Kings were working a 2-on-1. The whole idea in a power play is to do different 2-on-1s at different points of the ice. Finally, Wayne Gretzky decided to drift one here because he knew he had Robitaille. Did Robitaille not get a piece of that with the shaft of his stick? Remember, Robitaille scored a power play goal. One of his two started with the deflection from Holmes.
See who's around him. A lot of open ice there. Right back in, Yari Curry almost lost that one. Good play by Damphousse, who follows the play back. Near side, Sador. Sador takes the hit from LeBeau. LeBeau looking for someone. Damphousse came to help. Here's Desjardins. Shot, score!
This is a hard-working goal. Good work by Stéphane Lebeau. He is a smaller man than Sador, but he got it back to the point with the help of Damphousse. And then look at this shot. To the strong side. 47 in white is Lebeau cutting to the net. If you want to shoot to the strong side, you got to shoot to where the traffic is. Instead of going to the long side where there was no traffic, Desjardins went to the short side. All I can think is that Daryl Sador was having trouble seeing the puck in his skates. In tight to him. That jaw protector that he had, that mouth protector, really did jut out quite far. You can see both bottom and top lip were swollen and stitched up.
All players say that is the one factor you really have to work on getting used to when you wear the visor. Look at that puck. That hit the glass, came back out to Kelly Hrudey from behind the net.
You know, the open visors at the bottom don't obstruct any of your vision down to your feet and down for the puck. Daryl Sador had a reverse visor. It was open for the eyes, but full down around the philosophy of attack. You never move the puck backwards when you're attacking.
Sandstrom, Tomas Sandstrom stood up. Matthew Snyder delayed offside call. What matter here? DiPietro got it up. DiPietro coming, takes the shot wide on Kelly Hrudey. That ended up being a very short 3-on-2 situation. Oh, Mike Keane, a penalty coming. He's got a bad back already, and he got driven into the board. Shot saved by Hrudey on Dion, but Keane is down.
Well, Charlie Huddy of the LA Kings earned this penalty. 2 minutes for cross-checking. Watch it right to the small of the back of Mike Keane. He knows that Mike Keane's got a bad back. Everybody does. And that is as good an indication or good a reason, that replay, why general managers don't disclose. Look at that save by Kelly Hrudey right off the mask. Why general managers instruct their PR people and their entire organizations not to disclose the nature of an injury. Serge Savard has said many times, it is my job. Watch him. Dave Taylor, he's tiring, out of gas. Can't get in front of Kevin Haller. Zingo, right under Patrick Waugh. Looked like a 5-hole goal. 5-hole right between the legs of Patrick Waugh. Waugh is out. Yeah, right between the legs. Waugh was out cutting down the angle the way he should be, but there's one spot on Patrick Waugh, and most butterfly-type goalies, if you hit it, you got a good chance of scoring, and it's right between the pads.
Dave Taylor has scored 3 goals.
Clear out by Rob Blake. He was like a bulldozer with speed wheels on. That whole kill. He roughed up Dion on one side of the ice, raced to the other side.
Sandstrom back to Zhitnik coming. Gretzky out on the line. Gretzky down the middle. Backhand pass for Reichel. Reichel back for Gretzky. Bounced in on Waugh. Off his face-off to the left of Patrick Waugh. Sits as Reichel got poke check. What a hit. Carbonneau and Blake both go down. They both get up. Ed Ronan's got a man in the middle. Onside. Snyder. Shot! Kelly Hrudey came out to the bottom of the circle. Made the save. Snyder again. Matthew Snyder saved. right off the end of the skate. Desjardins back.
Why, again, the Montreal Canadiens applied pressure, and the Kings pinned in their own end. Your reverse angle look at the Schneider chance. You see how far out Kelly Hrudey is? And skating backwards, too, Matt Schneider really had no option. He was just running out of angle, And look where Kelly Hrudey is. Kelly, don't stop there. You might as well go out and poke check him.
There's a more unorthodox goaltender at the professional level. I'm not sure that I have seen him or her.
Well, Kelly Hrudey's motto has to be whatever it takes.
And Canadiens down in the series, of course, the Kings taking that first game 4-1 here. The first loss at home to Montreal. LeBeau shot deflected in front. Good play. Millen helping out. Puck did not get in on Kelly Hrudey. Corey Millen made the block. Danfus, his shot. Saved by Hrudey. Look what I found.
Hrudey never had that. He thought he had it squeezed off. And typical of a couple of saves that he made in game one, the puck was sitting right under him between his legs because the Canadiens spotted it and so did the Kings. So everybody rushed to net. Marty McSorley and Tim Waters just tried to jam people out. Watch it. Danfus launches a rocket here. He caught it all. Hrudey thinks, yeah, baby, I got this one. Look down under his pad. He thinks he has it. And you know what? That is when a defenseman, that you talk about verbal communication in this sport, it is so important. Somebody has to yell, there it is. If Kelly Hrudey doesn't hear that, he doesn't know where it is. Shot space, 23 by Hrudey, 8 by Patrick Roy. Half of the saves for Kelly Hrudey have been tough ones. 12-3 in the tough save department.
Both of these goaltenders share a very fine honor. We have a tie.
Here's a deflection by Daryl Sador. Sador got a piece of it, and DiPietro tried to deflect it. There he is, head to toe. Other than the white part of the white and silver part of the Kings uniforms, Johnny Cash. I am Johnny Cash. The move I was talking about by John LeClair, and he stepped out in front with the wraparound. Left it for everybody to jam away. You know what happens when you're that close? Kurt Fuller had his helmet ripped off. If you just jam away at it, you hardly ever
see the shifts and time on the ice in this game.
And he hasn't played as much in the second period simply because there haven't been the power plays that there were in the first period. We've got 3:32 to go, so that number may be up around 8 minutes before the second period is over. But he played half of the first period because of the power plays.
And he's on the ice right now in a 4-on-4. Tomas Sandstrom back to Gretzky to Sandstrom. Save by Roy! Save again on Sandstrom. Tomas Sandstrom, 2 chances. Danfus coming. Muller 2-on-1. Danfus shot. Saved by Kelly Hrudey. The goaltenders putting on a show. Wayne Gretzky to Sandstrom. Danfus looking. He's got Oderline cutting. Oderline had to handle the aerial goal up high. Danfus takes it. Save made. Kelly Hrudey read it. Came out. Perfect.
He's trying to get it back. Come on, air. Gretzky had Rob Blake going to the net one time and Sandstrom the other time. Sandstrom made the good play by trying to pull it to the backhand. Patrick Roy read it all the way, and then when he went wide, he spun around and got great wood on a turnaround shot right down to the other end. Danfus, again, he has to be talking to himself, Gary. He's had so many point-blank chances in this hockey game. Here he is again. Off the toe of Kelly Hrudey's left skate.
Kelly Hrudey, you can see, putting the big numbers up. Coming back home to play. Robitaille grew up in the suburb of Montreal. Now he's playing against the Canadiens.
Well, Dave Taylor did a good job on this wraparound because he got it out far enough before he tried to recenter it. But watch when Robitaille goes down what happens. Oderline is going to crunch him right there. Patrick Roy got his stick up right in his face there. And Robitaille's the kind of kid that'll pay the price. You don't score 63 goals and set a record for left-wing scoring in the NHL.
A combination of both will help my game.
Magic Moments, presented by Dodge. Ken Dryden came to the Canadiens right out of the Ivy League and was instantly one of hockey's most unique players. Though his career spanned just 8 seasons, Dryden was on 6 Cup champions and one or shared in 5 Vezina trophies. The 71 Stanley Cup playoffs saw Dryden emerge as a star as he won the Conn Smythe Trophy as the MVP in one of hockey's magic moments.
Robitaille back to Gretzky. Drop Curry. Save made. Rebound swept wide. Thomas Sandstrom was trying to set up far side. DiCarbino finds himself loose. Curry moving. Carbonneau saved by Kelly Rudy. Carbonneau tried to get back for another shot and couldn't reach it.
Jari Kurri has hit the 30 mark. He's 32. He ain't done yet either. He was chasing a 33-year-old. They looked like they were 19. Terrific skating by both Curry and Carbonneau. And Kelly Rudy just stood his ground against the LA Kings. And there it is, the stick between the legs. Can't do that. Can't do that deep in the offensive zone, and Alexei Zhitnik did it. Another good call by Kerry Fraser. So much action in front. Mike Donnelly is just getting ripped by Eric Desjardins.
Zhitnik goes. Granato. Pat Conacher. Kings has the break. Montreal got back. Shot. Wow, makes the save on Granato. Granato just came up from behind the net. Dave Taylor ran it in. Shot. Wow, score! Pat Conacher! And the Kings have taken a 2-1 lead.
And it is a makeshift line that Barry Melrose has put together with Conacher and Dave Taylor, along with Tony Glide. Dave Taylor beat his guy to the puck. That is Gary Lehman that he out-muscled and was able to step out himself. He tried to jam here. And the key thing here is that he just kept it alive. And then Pat Conacher found Patrick Waugh without a stick. I guess the stick got jammed up on the side of the net. And the little man, 5 feet.
Here comes Gretzky. Taylor in the middle. Gretzky drops it. Marty McSorley shot. Oh! What a save by Patrick Waugh!
I don't believe that. What a save by Patrick Waugh.
He got it in the glove. Remember that save. The Kings still lead 2-1.
Well, Patrick Waugh has made an incredible save. As it turns out, he was forced to make the save because of interference by Dave Taylor. But watch the shot by Marty McSorley. As Patrick Waugh is going down, he's able to snag this one with his glove. The reason he went down, Dave Taylor banged into him, so the Kings are going to be shorthanded. But watch this. I think Patrick his glove actually ends up over the goal line. There's the interference from Taylor. He still focuses and makes the save. And I think the puck really pierced the imaginary plane there, but it doesn't matter because the interference penalty precedes the goal.
Marty McSorley was arguing about that. The video replay judge, if they're heading for their last 30 in the playoffs, Montreal has not had a shot in the last 8 minutes. Schneider drops it off. Desjardins, oh my gosh, Bellows had an absolutely empty net. He blew it. Absolutely empty. You must put that shot in the net, and he didn't. Jari Kurri, shorthanded. I'm telling you, he is under the Canadian skin right now.
Well, this is the play we talked about. Brian Bellows with the pass from Eric Desjardins. Oh, you know what? He never even got that with his stick. It went off his skate. He was almost looking where he was going to shoot, and he missed the puck completely. Here's the cross-check. Boom! Right there, right across the nameplate on the back of Tony Granato while he was down. And there's Kerry Fraser with the signal. Most of...
Kelly Rudy makes the save, and Zhitnik goes back to get it. Alexei Zhitnik hard around the boards and out of the zone. None.
And Gary Lehman, who has been in and out of the lineup in the playoffs, mostly out for the Montreal Canadiens. I mentioned that 4 years ago in Toronto he had 50-plus goals. He shot this one right into Kelly Rudy's Kings logo on the front of his chest. Didn't shoot it high or low to a corner, right into the chest.
Lehman playing in his 8th playoff. On to the other way. Granato coming. He's got Taylor in the middle with Zhitnik. Muller gets back. Shot. Save made by Waugh. It deflects to the games that were played here. And in playoff history, the Montreal Canadiens have an incredible 216, 87, and 3-tie record.
Gary, we've got something critical going on here. It's a stick measurement. You're allowed a half-inch curve. That is the device that measures the curve. Kerry Fraser is measuring it. It's Marty McSorley's stick, I believe. And if he is guilty of playing with an illegal stick, the LA Kings will be penalized, and Marty McSorley will have to sit for 2 minutes.
And he will. The stick's illegal. We thought it would have been Zhitnik.
If it is not illegal, the Montreal Canadiens end up with a penalty. That's why it's such a tricky call. You just can't measure at the drop of a hat. good call by Jacques Demers. Marty McSorley was caught with an illegal stick, and bingo, we got ourselves a real dramatic situation.
Before every game, coaches always look at opponent's sticks on the ice to find one.
And you can see, you see that little tip that is sticking out. It is not making contact with the stick. You've got the blade at each end being touched by the long length of the stick measure, and that little thing that juts out is supposed to be able to touch the stick all the way up and down. It does not. That means it's over half an inch. Wow.
So the Montreal Canadiens get the power play chance. Of course, the other side of this coin is the Montreal Canadiens power play has done zip. McSorley out at 18:50. What a chance to end their over. 1:45 left to go. Patrick Roy is heading to the bench. The face-off is going to be in the Los Angeles end. To see whether or not Roy stays. He's getting instructions here.
I can't imagine that he's going to go off, Gary.
I can't either.
Simply because the Los Angeles Kings can ice the puck at will, and they've got a minute and 45 seconds. If they take the power play for 45 seconds, maybe they score, and they don't give the LA Kings a chance to score on an empty net. But if Jacques Demers is going to take the chance of measuring a stick with $1:45 to go, I guess you can imagine that he'd pull Patrick Roy. But the LA Kings can take a shot anytime they can get the puck all the way down to that empty net, because they are a man short. 6-on-4 skaters.
The 7th power play for the Montreal Canadiens. The net is empty at the other end in Game 2. You don't think this is an important game, Game 2 of the best of 7. Cleared to center. Jari Kurri. Desjardins blocked Jari Kurri. Taken by Muller. A 2-man skating advantage for Montreal on the power play here. Held in. Muller. Muller goes to the corner with it. Minute 40 on the power play. Less in the game. Deflects off the side of the net. Desjardins over to Schneider. Schneider to Desjardins. 2-man advantage. They're ganged up in front of the net. Desjardins shot. Score! I've tied the game!
Montreal coach Jacques Demers went for it, and he got results. Give him some credit. Barry Melrose is the guy that's supposed to be the aggressive coach, the attack-oriented coach. Jacques Demers measured a stick, pulled his goalie, and got this. A huge ripper from the point.
7-1 in overtime games, and Desjardins gunned it in on Kelly Hrudey for the Los Angeles Kings in overtime in the playoffs.